I'm so excited. It is time for the first sowing from the autumn jump starter, and we're going to start with the sweet rocket. Sweet rocket, or Hesperis, is actually a biennial. It is not an annual. Now, biennials need to go through a winter as a plant so that they will flower the following year. So you need to sow it in September. The earlier in September you grow it, the better, because that gives the seeds longer to germinate and longer, while the light levels are still quite high, to turn into nice, good seedlings. They will then kind of almost stop growing throughout the winter. And that cold vernalization will then initiate flower formation in the plant for next spring. So don't get sidetracked, do this one first. So I'm carefully opening up my seed packet. The foil will be inside, but I don't want to spoil the picture because that will cheer us up all the way through to next spring, won't it? Here we go. Right, let's open the foil. Again, I'm opening it carefully so that you can fold down the top of any packets and keep the seeds that are left inside. I'm just going to tip them out into my hand. So I'm just going to sow one seed per cell onto the surface of the compost. Now you might notice I have moistened this tray of compost ahead of time because it's just so dry at the moment. So rather than risking washing my seeds away, I thought I'll water the seed tray first, let it stand for 20 minutes, half an hour, let the water drain away, and then I can put the seeds straight onto moist compost. And you can just firm them in gently so they make good contact with the soil. And the last seed going in now, and I'm going to put the remaining seeds back in the packet, and then I'm going to fold that over to keep them secure and fresh, and pop them back in their envelope so I know what they are. Rocket is very hardy indeed. So if you've sown it nice and early, you've got nice good plug plants, they've grown over the winter. Once it gets to January, February time, when you're starting to think about sowing some more seeds, you can actually evict this one from the greenhouse. The only reason it's in the greenhouse at all is to give it an umbrella against the weather, because otherwise if we have a big thunderstorm, all your seedlings will get washed away. There we go. Don't forget your label, and I'm going to play you a video now so you can see what the seedlings are going to look like. These are my sweet rocket plants. They're doing really well, but I haven't done so well with the sowing. I've got 3 here in one cell. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move on the bigger boys into their own 15 cell trays, so they've got enough space to grow on until planting out time. And then the smaller ones, what I'll do, just so they don't get overwatered, is I will move them on into their own cells back in a 40 cell tray, but it'll have fresh compost, so that will help them catch up. There we are. Don't they look happy? So I'm just going to give this a water, and as I say, they can go outside. They're extremely hardy, and we're having a lift in the temperatures at the moment, so you could take advantage, pop them on and put them outside. You just need to protect them from torrential downpours, because the torrential rain will just wash all the compost out and maroon your trays. And obviously you need to watch out for the trays actually getting blown around in the garden, because they are a bit lighter. But other than that, if you haven't got room in your zippy, pop them in a sheltered spot. I'm going to pop them up on the shelf in the greenhouse here in plenty of light. No need for a propagator lid. It is plenty warm enough. Just come back to talk to you under my favourite tree. I keep coming out here and coming under the tree because it's just so bright in the greenhouse. Even when the sun's not out, it's very bright in there, and I don't really want to talk to you with sunglasses on, and I don't want to be squinting at you either. So that's the reason I keep popping out here. If, like me, you're lucky enough to have a walk-in greenhouse, you can probably feel how humid it is. So there's no need for propagator lids or anything like that at this time of the year. I'm not even going to shut the greenhouse door. The only reason they're in the greenhouse at all is just to protect them from being washed away by the weather. In fact, when we get to January, February time and we start to think about sowing some more seeds, such as the stocks, the melopa, the scabious, things like that, you can actually evict them from the greenhouse and pop them outside in a sheltered spot. If you've got a cold frame, great, but otherwise by then they should have turned into nice sturdy plug plants, and they'll be big enough and old enough to go outside whatever the weather. The roof, which is going to protect them from torrential downpours, because we've only just potted these on, so if we get some heavy rain, what can happen is all this lovely loose compost will wash away. So you want to protect them from the rain, and also if we get heavy snow, then that could crush and snap some of your plants. Hopefully not, but you never know. So we'll pop them under the cold frame, but you can see that the breeze is now able to get to the plants. It's going to be healthier for them. And don't worry, if they freeze solid like ice cubes, as long as you stick to the plants on my list, they'll be absolutely fine, I promise. There we go, catch. This is the sweet rocket. It positively needs cold temperatures for it to flower. Brilliant. It's looking good, isn't it? This is the sweet rocket. Decided to put it here this year, and it's not very far away from flowering now. Look at that. Well, typical spring weather. The sun's out again. It's dried up, so I'm going to plant out my scabious. And the first of the flowers, this is the sweet rocket. Now, sweet rocket will take a little bit of shade, and you can see I put them on the end here, and the sun comes and goes from this area. So we had lovely sunshine this morning, but it's in full shade now, and you can see they are happy as Larry, not batting an eye at the shade. They will rebloom once you cut them, and you can actually leave them and they will rebloom next year too. However, I find that the best flowers are always in the first flowering season. So I would say year one, but they're biennials, aren't they? We sowed them in the autumn. So I will pull these out and re-sow them because they're just so easy. Also find all the information for sowing and growing sweet rocket in your autumn jump starter handbook. Now, if you turn your seed packets over, can you see this scan me on the back? If you use your camera on your phone, that will take you direct to my website, where you can order copies of the handbook, but you can also watch this video again. Hopefully that was a nice, easy start to the autumn jump starter for you. I will be back in the next video, and next time we will be sowing snapdragons.